There you go.
Stop sign and he parks.
Mike Lellis.
Remember, we don't get paid by it. I'll give you more details on it tomorrow. Okay. I talked to the guy from the homeowners.
What number is it?
I was gonna say, you got a whole new thing going on.
That's not. No, this isn't. 536 isn't. That's not the right one, Larry. No, that's not it. She's talking about, hold on, I'll tell you.
I don't know if we at that time knew that this would be a day.
513.
Those are also.
What did you lose?
What is that right there? I think someone got me in I was using it, yeah, I don't know. A couple of them are swiped.
I am happy to share. Left side is, I know you did. You're a noticer.
Plus one. No. I'm back by the minute now.
But it was actually,
Hey, be careful, that's my gavel.
The Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk Lesko, will you please call the roll?
Will do. Alderman Redpath.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
here.
Alderwoman Nortriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Chair Rockford, a quorum is present.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the October 24th, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk Lesko, are there any presentations scheduled?
None for tonight, sir.
Okay. Clerk Lesko, will you please read the ordinances?
Will do.
Clerk Lesko, excuse me, I'll entertain a motion to move agenda 2023-513 to the front of the agendas, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
You gotta read it.
Oh, I have to read it?
No, I will. All right. Ordinances and resolution tabled or remaining in committee. 2023-430, 2023-431, 2023-432, 2023-443.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to remove 2023 430, 431, and 432 for council consideration.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, I have had conversation with Chief Scarlett, and he has let me know that DCO has corresponded with them, and as we pass this, that we can send up the details of the program. If Chief is here, we can definitely speak on it. But I would like, before these all expire per our rules, to pull them out for council consideration. We do have one of the groups here present if anyone needs to know any information, and certainly I'll address any questions that anyone may have.
Any discussion on that?
Yes. Chief Scarlett, you want to come up and tell us what's
Have we
going on?
voted to put these on consideration yet?
No.
Why don't we?
We're in
It's just
discussion
discussion.
right now.
Okay.
Come on up.
So this is back to Senator Turner's $3 million grant. There was money that was assigned for community engagement and whatnot. Initially, it was set aside for the teen empowerment zone. It was $645,000. Essentially, we received permission from our grants manager, Jenna Bloom, that we can now file amendments to the original $3 million grant that we received. So essentially, there's $645,000 that's available. Like I said, initially was set aside for teen empowerment zone. I sent an email to Alderman Gregory. He essentially said, whatever program we think we want to use for the area that was identified by this grant, that as long as they're abiding by the rules of the grant, and they can put forth essentially the information as far as what they can do to fulfill the grant, that I would write it in the grant. I have no problem with that.
Thank you, Chief. I know you, in our correspondence, you had one of your wishes was that we touch as many organizations as possible. And I know one of the things that we have continued to work on is community engagement, as well as community policing. And these particular groups were all at the table with us during the 2-year Teen Empowerment Zone attempt. So, as time moved on, those are the groups that are in this. But I will say that each one of these groups do work with other groups. The Park District works with another community group, Everett Clemens and Applying Pressure. They had a really, really large presence. And One in a Million, Inc. Just finished their 26th or so coat drive, working with various organizations throughout our community. As well as Better Life, Better Living for Kids, who also worked with the boxing team that was here with them as well. So that's about 6 or 7 organizations that I don't think that we work with currently that are doing good work in our community, and this definitely helps our department spread their community engagement as well to organizations that we don't traditionally work with.
Well, I would agree with you, and that's the whole point of this, is community engagement, getting our officers involved in the community, being able to mentor young children who need mentoring. And I did mention as many organizations that we can touch with this $645,000, I would certainly be in support of that. Additionally, we have officers, neighborhood police officers, that are excited to partner with Andre Spalding and his Ring of Champions boxing group, and we're already heavily involved in that process moving forward. So.
Good. So that's why I thank you, Chief, first of all, for coming and share that intention. So I would just like to pull this out so we can vote on it, so you can make the changes. And please now, if you have any issues with either one of these groups or the groups that they work with, let's make the changes that we can. But if we're okay and we're in agreement with these groups being adequate and reputable, then I'd like to move forward with this.
I certainly would defer to your professional recommendation. I know that you all were present with the former mayoral administration as well as Senator Turner and had some input as far as how the money would be spent, so I would defer to you guys on how it should be utilized. The only thing I would ask is that we have to apply through DCO to make sure that they approve it, so that's the first step in the process.
Absolutely.
2, we need to put forth some measurables from these organizations to ensure that they're meeting the requirements of the grant, which
Absolutely.
wouldn't be a problem at all.
I agree with that. I don't think that any of these organizations organizations would have any problem with that. I know the last $3 million grant that we had some newer organizations and things that we're going to hold to the same standards as well. So in order for us to move forth with these amendments, we need to bring this out of the status so we can vote on it next week and get the ball rolling. I think it's important for these groups, to receive what they've been working on for a while and get out in the community along with the city and your department to bridge some other gaps that we have in our community. And I think we have a real opportunity to form some new partnerships in our community with this opportunity. Not only that, I do want to, we're talking about 645 over $3 million grant. There's so many other facets of this that is exclusively with the department for equipment and things of that nature, as well as some things that's going to benefit the community without, telling it all. I'm sure you guys want to surprise some of our citizens with some of that good stuff. So, I'm happy to be here and happy to speak on it. I think it's the right thing to do to move forward, and so they can get the plan and they can get the programming and helping us out.
Yeah, and I would just say I'm grateful for the fact that we're finally able to start utilizing some of this grant funding that we have been working through the process for several months now, in fact, several years. So the sooner we can get everything ironed out as far as how exactly it's going to be spent, the better off we will be as a community, for sure. So.
And finally, before I know my other council members have some questions, and I'll say, this whole process has sort of been disheartening to me because I know, it was written up one way, and it's probably the way I am, why I asked to see everything, with my own two eyes, and I really are skeptical of a lot of things because I know we had a long conversation, multiple people, multiple communications on what exactly the programming and this funding should be for. So, however it got written up to go towards the building to make me go through this process, I'm sort of disappointed in. I just feel like I feel like it was clear on what we were supposed to be doing with this funding and programming. I'm very vocal about our community needs to any partner, state or federal, that I come across, and this is one of the deliverables that they were trying to get to our community. So that's just my spiel. We have a good relationship. I'm trying to keep that relationship, and I'm just sort of disappointed that we didn't write it up exactly how we all discussed. That's my deal. Thank you, Chief.
Okay. Alderman Hanauer.
Thank you, Chair. Chief, did you have this money already spoken for in this grant?
No, the $645,000 was specifically designed or set aside for this teen empowerment zone, which was to go towards a structure as well as, I think, an architecture study as well is what it was set aside for.
Okay. I got a couple things I just want to mention. I kind of have a problem with given the Park District money. They held us hostage when we were trying to get the downtown TIF, and we had to pay them an awful lot of money. And they're their own taxing body. And I just have I don't know that I will support that one. I think that, I think that they've gotten enough money from us. And I didn't like the way that went down. And I don't think a lot of us up here that was up here liked the way they held us hostage, and they did hold us hostage. So I can't support that. Mike does a great job at 1 in a million, but the mayor's first council meeting, we had an ordinance up here on a mural that was supposed to go to a tavern that a bunch of people selected, and it was a grant, and people on this council raised holy hell about someone, a family member of someone up here on the council getting grant money. So the way I see it, at that point, this council was set to where if we have family members that are running something, they should not be able to get grant money. We did it to one, we should be consistent across the board. This has nothing to do with what 1 in a million does, because they do a great job. I will not argue that at all. Mike does a great job over there. But the fact of the matter was, we had a situation where a family member owned a business, was supposed to get grant money, and people raised hell up here. So I can't support that. The decision was made at that time that that's the direction that this council was going to go. So I'm sorry, I can't support that. So just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Alderwoman Conley, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chief, I just have kind of a clarification question. I've worked in the grants field myself. So you have not yet submitted your amendments to DCEO, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We just received a grants manager 2 weeks ago, so we just finally got a person assigned to us to help us through this process.
Okay, and did they give you a timeline for how long it takes to get the amendment through the process?
She said it would take quite some time, was specifically how she mentioned it.
And what do you need for the amendment?
Well, I think what we need is an understanding of what these programs are that we're asking for here, what their measurables are going to be, what the money is going to go towards, a budget. That's all the stuff that was required of all the other stuff that we asked for within this grant funds.
And do we have any of that available yet from the organization?
Some of the organizations do have it. I will say that, I went through everything for the last $3 million, and all of those organizations didn't have these very things that we're saying they need. They didn't have a budget. All they had is information about their program, and I'll finish when it's my turn to speak again.
I mean, and I appreciate that. I'm just trying to figure out, is this the horse? Is this the cart? Are we doing this in the right order? Should we maybe, because this isn't going to expire. These ordinances aren't going to expire for another 4 months, really. Well, 3.5. We still have them available. We can vote on them. I'm just wondering if it's appropriate, and I don't know if Corporation Council can help with this or not, but is it appropriate for us to pass the ordinance prior to having the budgets, the scope of work, deliverables, reporting schedules, all of that straightened out with the organizations, and then know that we have a final amendment? And I understand, Alderman Gregory, I know your frustration with this. I've lived this frustration going through grants myself. It's a pain in the neck, and I'm just wondering, I just want some clarification. What's the cart and what's the horse? If the ordinance is the first thing we need to do, now that we're at this stage where we have manager and we're ready to do amendments, then let's get that direction. But it seems to me like maybe the amendment process needs to go forward first.
So what this ordinance would do would be authorize the subrecipient grant agreement, so we could enter into that agreement, and by authorizing this, we would have to go through we would have to amend our grant to include these, but we would be authorized to move forward. Now, the way our council works, there'd still be an ordinance accepting the grant, as amended, as revised. But if we approved these, it would give direction to putting forward the amendment. Alternatively, you could pass an ordinance directing us to amend, but not necessarily to actually authorize the agreement. Because if these are taken off the table and are going to be debated at the city council meeting, my office is going to have to put together subrecipient with OPED, would have to put together subrecipient grant agreements to actually be attached to the ordinance by next Tuesday. Because those have not been prepared, and the details have not been worked out. So we would need to have that done.
Okay, but we can move forward with the amendment process with or without these ordinances. Is that correct? The chief does not need us to approve him submitting amendments to an existing grant award.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
But,
Hold on. Alderwoman Conley, are you finished?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chuck.
Alderman Redpath?
Chief, do you have a plan in your head of what you want to do with this money?
This particular $645,000, I have not thought about that other than the conversations I've had with Alderman Gregory as far as how he best sees this money
And see,
being used.
I don't have a problem with a couple of these ordinances. One of a million does a good job. I think that the parameters for the criteria to accept or apply for these things have to be put in place, and a follow-up to how the money is spent. The prior administration did not do that on a lot of money that went out of here, and that's got to change. We got to make sure that we're following rules, that you meet the criteria, and then you get the money, and then you follow up with this is how it was spent. And as long as we do that, I don't care who gets money. But I will not vote for the Park District money. It's not to do with them holding us hostage. That's a political move. It just, I don't think it's a good idea for us to be sending money to another taxing body. I think that's a bad idea. So that's the way I feel. Thanks.
And I will make this very clear to you all, and Alderman Gregory and I have had this conversation, that because this is going through the Springfield Police Department, that yes, there has to be specific measurables in place so that we know where this money is going out, who's utilizing, and ensuring that it fits with the grant.
And to be fair, the people that are listed here need to be able to give, they need to have that up. They need to have that information in front of them so they can be prepared to come tell us that. Okay, that's the way I look at it. And, and then follow up, to come back and tell us where it is. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thanks. Alderman Gregory?
Thank you. I just want to, I don't know why our park district gets such a beat up from us. And, I remember the letter at Enos Park and, SHA, TIF, I had to do some arguing just to get that TIF. So, but I will say the Park District has done a phenomenal job in our city on limited funds in our parks. Cox Park is redone, Duncan Park is redone, Bergen Park is redone. They're about to put $1 million over in Kiwanis Park, and on and on. They are doing a good job. I mean, since I've been in office, I can't speak for anything else, but they are doing a good job. For the last 3 years, they have went over to Cox Park and other parks and provided programming in those parks in partnership with the city on very limited funds, went above and beyond, and really have done a great job touching base with some population of children that don't go to our everyday resources that we all love. And that's important for our community. And they're included in this because the empowerment zone is a very area that we are trying to connect not only the park but Chamberlain Park and the Shield Sports Complex. We wanted Chamberlain Park to be very nice too and share some of that good stuff. It didn't happen, but we want to keep working on Chamberlain Park to have something special on that side of town as well. And connecting with the Salvation Army and just have a real nice campus. And these are the groups that were at the table with us. It's not like other groups wasn't spoken to or had conversations with. These are the groups that stuck in there and believed in what we were trying to do. They do a good job. All of them have budgets. All of them have given us information, and they can give it to us again. What this was about is bringing this off out of committee so we can vote on it, so we can get to work on it. Again, the way that it was written up for the buildings. That was never the conversation. That wasn't a conversation by email. There wasn't a conversation from Senator Turner. That wasn't our conversation. That wasn't a conversation when all four of us met. So again, for us to be like, well, I haven't thought about what I'm going to do with the 645, Chief, that's a little disheartening to say because we've talked about it for two years, of what we're going to try to do with this programming money. We wouldn't even have the money if it wasn't for the empowerment zone and what we're trying to do. You'll probably have some things to do with policing, but we wouldn't have all this community engagement money. We sent the first plan, and we rejected it because it was too top-heavy and not enough community engagement. So then we come back and we do it again, and so we the buildings is messed up. They just got broken into. Somebody's trash and going to probably cost even more money. So we give up on it. And I say, you know what? These groups have been at the table trying to work with us out there in the community, doing a great job. So let's work with them. We work with everyone else. Bring us way less than what we're asking them to bring us. It's unfair to treat organizations from the east side like this. They always got to go through the most hurdles. And it's clear as day. Everybody sees it. We just had 3 groups put on brand new. Got $600,000. Not a peep. Come on. It's unfair, man.
Well, I'm going to start by saying I hope you're not accusing me of treating the East Side organizations unfairly, because that's the last thing that I would do, and community engagement is near and dear to my heart. Number 2, you guys both, as well as the previous mayor, signed the budget on how it would be laid out and how the money would be spent. Okay? Number 3, some of this is not my idea as a police chief, okay? Some of this was direction from the previous mayoral staff who's no longer here. So if we're readjusting how the money's being spent, then let's readjust it. I don't care. I'm ready to move forward with this grant. There are a lot of great things that we can do. But I don't want to be accused of not utilizing the money correctly for our constituents in this community. So that's not what I'm about.
So do you have a problem working with these groups?
What I told you is I will defer to the city council on how they want to spend $645,000.
I'm asking you.
I don't know anything about these groups. The only thing I'm deferring to your expertise, and all I'm asking for is something that will ensure that we're held accountable on how the money is being doled out and spent. That's all that I care about.
I think that will always happen. We through our budgeting department, our treasury department, they're going to have their checks and balances before any money's paid out. And these groups are capable of doing it. One of them works every day with state grants right now. And Mr. Chair, if it's okay, one of the groups is here, and I think it's better for him to speak for himself. And I will say my last comment would be on the comment about families and all of that. I didn't expect Roy Williams to be voting on one of the million inks, but he's clear and within his right to vote on the other 2, as they're not any relation to him. I don't believe there's nothing in our code or anything like that prevents him from voting on those other 2. And we've had some other questionable votes where people should have stepped out and didn't. So from my understanding, that's always your conflict is always within yourself. So Mr. Chair.
Alderwoman Burgess.
Thank you, Chair. My only follow-up was from what Alderwoman Conley had asked Corporation Counsel. Corporation Counsel Mordock, you said that you need some information before this can be wrote up next Tuesday. Are you saying you need this from 1 in a Million, from the boxing group, or do they have to provide that to you, or do we already have that for you to put into?
Well, what I would need to have done is if this is polled and it's going to go on final approval, I would meet with Val, because we have our standard subrecipient agreements, and then we'd need to talk with each one of these entities to say, here's our agreement, these are the terms, and we'd need to put in specific scopes of work, what it's going to be done for, or what is going to be done, what the grant money is going to be used for. That would be explained in our application for amendment as well, but this is actually authorizing the agreement. So when these ordinances are voted on for final passage by council, I want you to be able to see the sub-recipient agreement, because that's what we'd be entering into. And so these 3 groups would need to, I'd need to be in contact with them so they could say, yes, these terms are acceptable.
Let me ask you this, is that enough time from now until next Tuesday for all 3 groups and to have all the paperwork in place?
I'd like a little more. I'd like some time.
I need you to voice that so Alderman Gregory could hear that. So if it doesn't move right now, at least we know the next steps that need to be done. So do you need 2 weeks? Like, how much time do you need?
If they pulled, we'd be in contact right away, and we could, enough of a buffer would be 3 weeks. So even if these come off and go on the agenda and then they're postponed to a time definite, which would be our first meeting in December, that would provide me with a little bit of buffer time to get that done. And I don't think it would slow up the process of amending the grant agreement, and would send staff a signal that we are moving forward with these 3 entities.
Okay, and then my question for Alderman Gregory is, do our other 2 entities have this information that Corporation Counsel is needing? I know 1 in a Million does, but do they have everything?
Yes, the Park District definitely does, as well as Better Life, Better Living for Kids. All of these organizations are well-capable organizations to do the same exact things that we do anyone else. And if need be, we can be a fiscal agent for them or whatever, like we do others. But you know, I stand at where I am. You know, other organizations don't have to jump through this many hoops, and, you know, for funding that is really meant for them. We only have the programming money for the empowerment zone with the groups that was in the empowerment zone. So that's just how I feel on this one.
I understand where you are coming from. I want to make sure that you have the support up here around the horseshoe too. When those final votes come up, Alderman Gregory, I'm talking to you.
I'm listening, Keisha. I'm listening.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Conley?
Thank you, Chair. Just one follow-up real quickly, Chief. With this grant, are you the sole reporting body back to DCEO, or does the grant itself allow for subrecipients to report to DCO?
The way I understand it, it all goes through the Springfield Police Department.
And I don't want this to sound wrong. Do you have the staff for this level of reporting? Again, I'm saying this as someone who just recently had to get 2 reports done on one day. So I know the level of work that goes into that.
Here's what I will say. We will make it work. I will make sure that my staff gets it done. What I'm asking is, you all decide how to spend this $645,000. I'll write it up. I'll take care of the amendments once we know what organizations are getting it. I'll do all the legwork. I just need to know who we're going to select for this money. That's what I'm asking.
No one asked me about no one asked this council when you picked the last people for the last $3 million. So now we have this $3 million,
I think I
and we
have
have
the
these
floor,
groups.
Alderman. I'm
just-
sorry.
Alderman,
Chair?
if I could just add a little bit of additional information. So if we go ahead and pass this.
Hold on. Alderwoman Conley, you want to finish, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm to answer more questions on this. I kind of wanted to say, Chief, and I appreciate your position here, but also to Alderman Gregory, it is a lot of hoops to get state or federal tax dollars to pass through as grant funds. It usually is. This is not unusual. This is something I swim in every day, and it's a lot of work. So, Chief, I appreciate very much your commitment to making this happen, and I just want you to know, I think we do need to have a conversation, because when these decisions were made, not everyone at this horseshoe was at that table. And that said, decisions been made in the prior administration, commitments were made, and I recognize that. And these are community groups that a lot of times get by on a day to day. I mean, I know the reality of all of that. My concern is with exactly what you were talking about, Chief, is that without a scope, without details and deliverables, which Alderman Gregory, if you're comfortable that we can get that from these organizations, I would like to see that, and I would like some time to be able to look at it.
Absolutely.
I understand it's grant funds, but it's still, we are responsible for the allocation of tax dollars, and we should be looking at this carefully. We want to make sure that there's an impact and that we have a clearly defined goal and measurables. And Val, Director Hazel, I'm assuming I'll let you speak to that, of what you look for in these agreements, and thank you, Chair. I'm done, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, as Corporation Counsel said, I mean, everything that he said, but the thing that I just want to talk to you about just a little bit is, once this gets passed, the clock starts ticking. Okay? So if we put this off, I mean, if we just do what we're going to do tonight, the clock starts ticking. That means they're going to have to start reporting, and it takes time off of the back end. I want us to be careful, because I want them to have absolutely as much time as is needed for those deliverables. That's the important thing here, as we're talking about so many of these things, is that we make sure that they have the time have those deliverables.
Hold on. Ralph, hold on. Alderman Redpath?
Well, I just wanted to follow up with her question, if I could.
Sure.
So you're telling us if we pass these 3 ordinances, the clock start ticking. Wouldn't the clock start ticking when we pass the acceptance of the grant?
the acceptance of the grant.
So
Once we
this is,
have
this is separate than that.
right, yes.
So if we went forward with this, and passed this, the clock's not ticking until we accept the grant.
Right.
Okay. I
Right,
just wanna
until
clarify that.
everything is in order.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Thank you.
Greg?
Well, we could also specify, too, if the contracts are holding us up, we could specify in these ordinances that we're merely authorizing the subrecipient grant agreements to be presented at council at a later date, which would allow us time to draft it. It would allow the police department time to amend the grant, and it would not start the clock from ticking. So you would not actually vote on the subrecipient agreement itself, but you would authorize one, which would then, you'd need to vote on the subrecipient agreement.
That's what I was asking earlier.
The last thing we want to do is have the clock running on the individuals that are trying to put this together. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Hold on, Mike, Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thanks. I was wondering, have we given other groups in the empowerment zone opportunity to be a part of this, or are we just deciding on our own who gets to get a grant, or has this been like bid out, or I don't know what the process was earlier, and I mean, you know.
No, essentially, as it was explained to me, and Alderman Gregory, maybe you could provide some more detail, it was how do we foresee using this money for community engagement as well as some police purchases as well. And that's where it was centered around the teen empowerment zone, so that's kind of how the whole thing came about, was that we would use some funding for the teen empowerment zone. There was nothing as far as a bidding out process or determining who was going to have access to the funding.
Because like Salvation Army, Boys Club, anyone's like that, did they get the opportunity, or are we just, we picking and choosing on our own? Or because to me, anyone in the area that could potentially be do what this grant wants you to do should have that opportunity.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Not just us decide on our own. I think we need to open it up for the area, in the area, and there's other groups, I'm sure, that would do a nice job, and they're established and stuff like that.
I certainly don't disagree with you, and again, the initial conversation was with Alderman Gregory and Alderman Williams, the former mayor and Senator Turner, and it was really how could the money be utilized in the teen empowerment zone area was the whole preface to this $3 million grant. There was no process put into place about how we would choose who would get the grant money. It was, that's just how it was presented to me. I don't know if you guys have any additional.
I would only say that, part of our job is to work with our state and federal legislators and try to do all we can for the communities we represent and express the needs that we need. We had this empowerment zone thing, and there was a conversation had, and we were going to be able to program in that situation. That's no longer so, but these organizations were at the table, been at the table for a very long time. We spoke to many organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club, and on and on and on and on. But the real goal with all of this was to really help some true grassroots organizations from our community that give us a different reach, that could touch some different children that we're not able to get to. And they do a very good job with that. And that's why they were a part of the empowerment zone. Everybody's welcome, but these groups we were trying to work with, and that's where we're at. So.
Now, Mike.
Yeah, Chief, thank you. Mike?
Michael Williams, President, 1 of the Million Incorporated, 700 South Livingston Street, Springfield, Illinois. To add on to what Sean said and kind of hope answer some of your questions, Ralph, there were 15 organizations invited to the table in the beginning. Salvation Army, the three that's there. Can't name them all. Salvation Army, Boys and Girls Club, NAACP, the Outlet, Springfield Urban League, and I can't think of the others. They were invited to come to the table to help out with the teen empowerment zone. Some of them decided not to because they wanted the entire thing. They didn't want it to be 3 or 4 organizations. They wanted all the money to themselves. So some of them fell off as time went on and the project was being delayed for whatever reasons. Other organizations fell off. So this is not a plan or a choice where the former administration or Sean just decided they're going to pick these 3 organizations and that's who's going to get it. They had ample time, and we offered them plenty of time, and we asked them plenty of time, be a part of this. Be a part of this with us. And it was their choice not to. If they would have stayed, if all those organizations I just named would have stayed, you would have 8 organizations splitting at $645,000. But as it was, the 3 organizations that really had their heart into it are the 3 that Sean put forward. And I'm going to be short. I think Corporation Council said it, and I think you guys might want to think about this. You can pass this contingent upon all of us being approved by OPED, by the state of Illinois, and by the police department. Because the very first time I came up here, when he got all upset, I had my budget, I had my everything ready to go. And I can guarantee you, but with flying colors, I'm going to pass all the tests. And I'm sure the other ones will too. So it ain't like, Ralph, that they chose just us. I'm just saying a lot of organizations was invited to the table.
Well, I just wanted to make sure other people had the opportunity, same opportunity.
Oh,
That's
yes.
all I was
I think, like I said, I think it was 15 organizations. I actually probably can go back to some of the minutes and some of the meetings and actually grab the original document that all of them was. Some of them chose, like the Salvation Army and just to be an outlet, just to be an organization that would help. They didn't want to be a part of the big money, but they would support some of the other organizations who are staying or coming along. And just pass it contingent upon us making the grade and us being able to pass. You know what I'm saying? I have a great program. I got 2 right now, and one, a Springfield police officer actually works. He's been working with 1 in a Million for over a year in our violence prevention programs. So we've been doing some great things, as all of you said, and I believe some of you have concerns about certain organizations. Just pass them one by one. Just pass them one by one. Start with Park District, 1 in a Million, and then Better Life, Better Living, if that's what you want to do, so that you can not vote for an organization you don't want to vote for. That's been done by this council before. I would have no problem with that. I would have no problem with anybody voting no. I'm just here to try to help change my community. We've been doing this for 28 years. And I would appreciate it if you guys would just bring it out, because then what will happen is Val would contact us and say, this information is needed. Proof of you being able to accept the money. That's the key. You're going to have to be able to accept the money per state statutes and per state qualifications. And then the police department is going to have to say, we accept that. State said they're fine. OPED office said they're fine. This is your program, Mike. We like that. You know what I'm saying? We'll be a part of that. As I said, we already got an officer there. So my call on it is tonight, and hopefully you guys think about it. Pass it contingent upon all the other concerns that you have being cleared before any of us get a dime. Thank you.
Mike, hang on. Chairman. Alderman Carlson, quick question, just from my clarification. You said you spoke to 15 organizations.
No.
So you picked those, but it was open-ended. Anybody?
I didn't speak to them. The mayor and Ward 2 aldermen invited them to the table to be a part of it.
So was it open-ended?
Yes.
You only asked 15, or did 15 only apply?
Well, no, it wasn't no application process. Right. It was put out. We wanted to develop a teen empowerment zone to help change the lives of our children. Any organization who wants to be a part of this teen empowerment zone is welcome to come on board. And I think it was about 12 to 15 of us when we had the first couple of meetings, Sean.
So is all the teen empowerment zone was supposed to be is, you know, I get approached by every organization in the book about a building. UCP left these buildings and they called me. The lady had tears in her eyes because they were closing down. So I had been contacted as soon as they closed. Everybody's calling. So we're like, how can we create something like a business incubator, but for not-for-profits where they can grow and serve their children? Why we're not on this campus? We're doing all these improvements to Cox Park, Martin Luther King. We want to lift it up. Chamberlain Ballpark, if we could get something going there, it'd be a big boom and really clean up the area. That's where this teen empowerment zone was really, really capable come from. I think, you know, we have a lot of organizations for the babies and young people, but we're losing it at our teens. We're losing it at our teens. We always see pictures with everybody with the babies. With these teens, we got to keep mentoring them and keep getting to them. So that's where this idea will come from. And you know, I'm always the same. I want to work with everybody in our community. We have a lot of good programs. And what I'm pushing everyone to do is push in the same direction so we all can work together and get more out of what we're doing. This is a great opportunity for us to continue to grow. And I just ask for everybody's support and just moving us to the next step as we still have a long way to go even after we do this. Thank you.
Alderman Carlson, you finished? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm good. Alderman Redpath.
So a point of information from Corporation Council, if we pass these ordinances contingent on meeting the requirements, is what we're talking about. I'm worried about the clock starting. That's what I'm getting back to. And we do, they can set until we get all that information done, and then once that's done, we'll make the application to accept the grant. Is that correct? So does it put a timetable on $1 million or whomever else is in the application process? Because we are agreeing, if we pass this next week, we are agreeing that those are the groups that are going to get the money. And
Right, so if it's passed contingent upon grant amendment approval, then the mayor would not be authorized to sign the contracts until that approval came down. So the clock wouldn't start ticking until the funds came down, the mayor signed the approval, and the other entity signed the subrecipient agreement. So now now the contract is official. It would be executed as of that date, and then the clock starts ticking.
so if we pass 1, 2, 3 of these and say somebody doesn't make it, what happens to the rest of that money? Is it divided among the ones who are getting the grant, or is it set in a pot to be used for other applicants?
I would need to look at the actual grant itself, but I don't believe it's split amongst everybody else.
The people that we're voting on these 3 ordinances get the amount that we authorize, correct?
That's correct.
But if, say, one of these ordinances does not pass, there's going to be a little bit of money left over. And does that mean that somebody else in that zone could apply for this?
It would mean that we would be able to allocate it in some form or fashion, but I believe we'd need state approval to do that. Anything,
Okay.
because now we have a budget that's been approved, but we're not going to allocate $200,000 of it. So
Okay,
we would need to figure out what to do with that, and that would be a dialogue with the state.
okay.
Okay, so we had a,
City Council, I am being physically removed. Ma'am, you know me, you've been in my personal house. I am sitting down, I have done nothing inappropriate.
Go ahead, Larry.
so we had a motion
And by the way,
and a second.
thank you, that's all we need.
Yes, there was motion and a second.
Motion and a second.
yes.
And a second to move these out of committee
To debate?
to debate.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and all opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Okay. I'm gonna back up just a second, guys. Mr. Ketchum, could you give us a treasurer's report, please? I jumped the gun a little bit. I apologize.
Thank you, Chair Rockford. Treasurer's report, corporate fund for the month of October. Beginning balance, $67,209,982. We took in total receipts of $13,382,873. We had disbursements in the month of October totaling $12,437,280, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of October at $68,155,575. The ending general fund balance includes $17,138,693, which is the October ending balance for ARPA money. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I entertained a motion to move ordinance 2023-513 to the front of the agenda. Clerk, could you please read that ordinance, please?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman, you have
Oh, I'm sorry.
a motion on the floor.
can we go can we just do get all of them omnibus 510 to 514 and bring them to the front?
Second.
So move. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All nay, opposed, say nay. Ayes
right.
have it.
2023-510, an ordinance approving the reappointment of David Steckel to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission. 2023-511, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Merrill L. Simmons to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission. 2023-512, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Robert Immel to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission. 2023-513, an ordinance approving the appointment of Michael L. Ellis to the Board of Managers of Oak Ridge Cemetery. 2023-514, an ordinance approving the appointment of Joshua S. Johnson to the Springfield Housing Authority Board of Commissioners.
Motion for debate.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Chair?
Ayes have it.
Chair, I think
Yes,
We've
we
got
have some
some of 'em
folks
here.
in the audience, if you'd like to step up. Mr. Lellis,
Bring your resume.
tell us who you are and where you're from.
and how you're qualified.
And don't ever say you worked at Lanford Park, okay?
I love you all. I'd like to thank Mayor Busher for presenting me for consideration to you as a member of the Oak Ridge Cemetery Board of Managers, and thank the council members for my consideration as well. I've been dying to get back to Oak Ridge Cemetery.
Waiting all night to say that, huh?
You held on to that
You had that
one.
written
All
down.
night.
And I'd also like to commend Mayor Busher for her excellent selection of Greg Talley as Executive Director of the cemetery. Greg spent a month with me while I was interim director, and I can attest to his professionalism, knowledge of the industry, and ability to comfort families in their time of grief. That's all I needed to see to convince me he'd be successful, and I also thank you for supporting Greg as the director. I'd also like to thank the current board member, Katie Spindell, who's here to support me. Katie, thank you. Three of the members, current members, were members when I was director there, so Mitch Murdoch, Katie Spindell, and Gary Hammond, so I look forward to serving with them. So with that, I'd just like to answer any questions you have or entertain any comments you may have about my candidacy.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, this is the first time you've been up here where you haven't begged for equipment.
I'll let Greg do that.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience want to speak? Step on up, please.
On up. Jump in the water.
510 through 513.
No more dead. Going up.
I'm Dave Steckel. I'm currently on historic sites and have been there for a while, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good, sir.
I'm Myral Simmons. I've been on the Historic Sites Commission since, I believe, 2013, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve.
Mr. Simmons, can you tell us your golf index?
Thank you.
6.3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Immel, and I wanted to thank the mayor as well as the city council for reappointing me to the Historic Sites Commission. I think history is one of our greatest assets here. I am also a member right across the street, First Presbyterian Church, and I constantly am giving tours of that. People are very interested in coming in, learning about not only Abraham Lincoln, but also the other connections that we have in our city that even though our big neighbor up to the north in Cook County likes to get a lot of attention, I think Springfield rightly deserves as much attention, and we need to give it to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gratitude for the Historic Sites Commission.
Okay, I need to entertain a motion to move agenda 2023-536 to the front of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Clerk Lesko, please read the...
2023-536, an ordinance authorizing execution of redevelopment agreement with AJG Industries Incorporated for assistance in the amount of $155,000 utilizing Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds for the property located at 2010 through 2014 South 5th Street through the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it.
All right, go back to the beginning.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
now
go
back
back
to
to
the
the...
beginning.
All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you gentlemen that came up and spoke, you can go. You don't have to hang around. Unless you'd like to.
Have a nice evening.
Get out.
It'll be a long night.
Lloyd's is the same way. Y'all later.
Okay, Clerk Lesko.
Ordinance
Please, go
for
ahead.
committee consideration. CWLP 2023-497, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 24-09-53 Comvault Hyperscale X appliance with She International Corporation in the amount not to exceed $115,516.37 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it.
2023-498, an ordinance authorizing payment to Dell Marketing LP for Microsoft software assurance maintenance in the amount not to exceed $70,319.84 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Motion for consent, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-499, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of Cisco SmartNet support maintenance for the core infrastructure equipment from Presido Networked Solutions, LLC, from state contract in an amount not to exceed $74,172.58 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
Second.
Debate? I'm sorry, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it.
2023-500, an ordinance approving a professional services agreement with Hanson Professional Services Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $99,600 for engineering design services to relocate transmission water main in relation to the railroad consolidation project for the Office of Public Utilities.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay.
2023-501, an ordinance authorizing an expenditure in the amount of $196,928 for the 2023 Helping Homes Energy Efficiency Renovation Improvement Program for the Office of Public Utilities.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Public Works, 2023-502, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing execution of contract number PW 24-09-55 with Green Track LLC for demolition and site clearance of 34 units necessary for the Springfield Well Improvements Project for an amount not to exceed $633,198 for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman
Real
Conley.
quickly, if I could, just want to know if this includes any of the properties that we've spoken about that had the asbestos issues? Over on, is it?
North Grand.
Along North Grand, yeah.
This contract primarily deals with 34 properties that are located along North Grand Avenue, right across from Landfair. The inspections have been completed. This contract calls for Green Tech to abate the asbestos as well as demolish the structures.
Wonderful. What's the timeline for that?
Once we move forward, I would say probably March, late March.
Okay, good to.
But once they start, they'll complete the entire job. And it can't be soon enough for me.
I agree. I'm sure Alderman Williams does too.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-503, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing the execution of contract number PW 24-09-58 with Martin Equipment Incorporated for the purchase of an A 2023 John Deere 60P mini excavator with a John Deere RE50 rotary cutter in an amount not to exceed $103,450.70 for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-504, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of rock salt from Cargill Incorporated Salt Division and under state contract 23-416 CMS-BOSS 4-56958 for an amount not to exceed $470,650 for the Office of Public
Move for
Works.
consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
2023-505, an ordinance approving the final plat for the re-division of part of Lot 16 of Legacy Point Town Center, Phase 2, for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I got the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. Director Fuchs, can you just give a brief update of where we are on the Legacy Point?
Well, I can speak to this particular ordinance, and what it's going to do is it's plotting Lot 16 to construct and develop a second planned motel is what it's for. This is next to the Springs Hill Suites, and this is all located west of MacArthur.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
2023-506, an ordinance authorizing execution of annexation agreement with Fred Wallace, LLC, for a tract of land with no assigned address located at parcel index number 22-08-479-005 for the Office of Public
Move for
Works.
consent.
Move for debate. This is an annexation agreement.
Okay.
Move to second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-507, an ordinance annexing certain described real property with no assigned address located at parcel 22-08-479-005 and owned by Fred Wallace, LLC.
Move to debate.
Second.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-508, an ordinance authorizing a contract with McDonald's Corporation for the purchase of right-of-way located at 901 East North Grand Avenue in an amount not to exceed $315,000 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6B for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-509, an ordinance authorizing relocation expenses for the acquisition of property occupying parcel SR 0097, 700 North 9th Street in the amount of $315,109.24 relating to the usable segment 6B of the Springfield Rail Improvement Projects for the Office of Public Works.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you. 2023-515, an ordinance authorizing a decrease in the number of Class A liquor and increase in the number of AA liquor licenses by one for Bloom Springfield LLC doing business as Bloom located at 2 South Old State Capitol Plaza.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
20.
say nay. I'm sorry.
Sorry. 2023-516, an ordinance authorizing a decrease in the number of Class D liquor licenses by one due to closure of business by Motto LLC doing business as Motto Pies and Pints located at 2936 South 6th Street.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 2023-517, an ordinance to increase the number of Class D liquor licenses by one for Rancho Chico 1 Incorporated doing business as Rancho Chico located at 3028 East Stanford Avenue.
Move to consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2023-518, an ordinance to increase the number of Class N liquor licenses by one for Pieces Holding LLC doing business as Pieces at Bun Gourmet located at 2911 Plaza Drive.
Move to consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2023-519, a resolution providing public notice of regular meetings of the City Council of Springfield, Illinois for the 2024 calendar year.
Motion for consent.
Second. Is there amendment?
No, I don't think so.
for this year.
Discussion? Alderman Donovan.
Mr. Chair, I bring it was been brought to our attention that this is somewhat germane to this ordinance, but in the month of December, we have a committee meeting scheduled for the 26th of December. The city's closed, and so we're going to talk about that under new business. About moving it, so anyway.
Okay.
Hold the motion.
Corporation Counsel, so,
So let's keep rolling.
yeah, okay, gotcha. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes got it.
2023-520, an ordinance declaring 12 unclaimed bicycles being held in the Springfield Police Department's evidence room to be surplus property and authorizing the Springfield Police Department to donate said bicycles to Mercy Communities and Spark of Springfield.
Motion for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
2023-521, an ordinance amending Chapter 36 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended by adding Section 36.05A relating to hiring preferences for residents.
Move to consent.
Second.
Motion for debate.
Okay.
Motion for debate.
Not, and,
Are there any questions?
and not that I'm against this, I just had some questions,
Sure.
and they can either, well, I can ask them now, or we can.
Yeah, let's, I mean,
okay.
that's what
So,
we're here for.
so
committee of the whole.
my questions would be, is there any language in the ordinance to, I know that it's gonna be Springfield preference, but is it points? Is it just, you live in Springfield, you get the preference? And my second question would be, is there any language in the ordinance that, limits how far somebody, can be living outside the city limits? Like, have we addressed whether or not we're gonna allow Chicago residents to work in Springfield, et cetera, or
No,
within this?
Yeah, no, this ordinance doesn't, and that's why, again, I thank everyone for not adding this on to the moratorium. That's not the point of this ordinance. The point of this ordinance is simply to express as an overall hiring preference that when there are two equal, or two people applying for a position, one person who may or may not live within the city limits and one person who does, that residency gives preference similar to like what we do with our local vendor preference. In fact, that was specifically when I reached out to Corporation Counsel, that was the concept I was getting at, is that, and I think we've heard it expressed a number of times, that people do like to see city employees that live in the city limits, and I appreciate that. So I think if we have two people who are applying for a job, that residency should give them a leg up.
Okay. And my final question, does this apply to all disciplines? Everybody, once this moratorium is lifted?
Well, it's limited, it's subject to, of course, any contract agreements. We can't override, any union contracts with this ordinance, but, and I think, how to say that exactly, it doesn't supersede any provisions of the city's collective bargaining agreements, but because it says preference for employment in all positions with the city. So, again, within the confines of the contracts.
Okay.
So yes, all positions.
Thank you. That's all my questions for now.
Thank you.
Alderman Donovan?
And Mr. Chairman, thank you. My questions have been answered, but I would, in the spirit, first of all, I like the spirit of the ordinance, that it is a good counterbalance to the decisions that have been made recently regarding residency and moratorium. I'd also like to be added with the sponsor's blessing as a co-sponsor.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
I would too.
Absolutely. I think the more the merrier.
Yes.
Like that.
Noted.
Alderman Williams?
Yes, so how is this expressed, this preference? How would it be expressed? Or is it just something in writing? Or is it points? Or, I don't know if HR can answer this out, but how would they do this, actually? Like the state, I'm a veteran, if I apply, I get 10 points, onto my score. So I'm
Right.
trying to understand how the city would show preference to the resident.
And I think I didn't want to get into that level of detail in terms of, regulating HR. If anyone from HR would like to talk about how they would see this being implemented. Again, the concept was similar to the local vendor preference.
Yeah, I would think it would be a point, come on up, I'm sorry. I would think it would have to be a point system, but maybe you know of another way for this to be real. I mean, we have to know how the preference works.
So I'm thinking about this question as now. So this is the umbrella of grace that says I may misstep. So we don't generally hire on the basis of points. So I would see the preference as we do with preferences for experience or education, and would ask for a little time to figure out how we would implement it so I could document it and show that we are in compliance. And some of that might be saying why, if we go outside of the residency, why the person with residency wasn't selected. I don't have the details, but we don't use points with our general hiring. We do use points with some of our police and fire hiring, and with the police, they get preference points.
Okay, so when you get it worked up, please come back.
I would be glad to.
Because that's important. That's
Yes,
important to know if
yes.
we're going to sell it as, Springfield residents has preference.
Yes, and I want to think it through because it's got to be balanced against the other preferences for experience
Okay.
as well as education.
Thank you.
And
So we'd have to document that piece.
And I will say, I kind of wanted to be a little bit loose because I am not an HR expert and don't want to be. So
Oh, come on, it's great fun.
you can have your pool. I'm gonna stay out of it. But just to make it clear that this is, a desire of the council that Springfield residents have that level of preference. So-
No, and I absolutely agree, and to think about how it is used operationally so that when you ask me, did this happen, I can know that it did. I want to give it a little more thought to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any more discussion? Okay, so this ordinance was first,
For debate.
motion for
Motion for
consent,
debate.
motion for debate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, got a second?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, nays, ayes have it.
2023-522, an ordinance approving salary increases in excess of 5% during a 12-month period for the police department command staff.
Move for debate.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, ayes have it.
2023-523, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Springfield and the Police Benevolent and Protective Association, Unit 5, from March 1st, 2022 through February 28th, 2026.
Move for
Motion for
debate.
consent.
Second.
Debate.
Debate, I had motion for debate,
Yes.
second.
He's got a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
I
all
had
opposed.
discussion on that.
Okay. Alderman Williams?
So my question is, the dates are a little confusing to me. So, Chief, what exactly are we doing? And with these dates, since the first part, March 1st, 2022 is throwing me a little bit.
The contract's been expired
Okay.
since March 1st of 2022, yeah. So this is back dating the start of the contract and the raises to take effect beginning March 1 of 2022.
Okay, so it would be retroactive, whatever the bargaining produces.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion for debate, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
2023-524, an ordinance authorizing acceptance and execution of grant number HS-24-0187 from the Illinois Department of Transportation in the amount of $53,920 for Sustained Traffic Enforcement Program, STEP, and authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $20,480 for use in FY24 for the Springfield Police
Move
Department.
for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I actually get to say that
Debate?
since I don't work at IDOT.
I mean, no,
Oh, you
I'm
got-
sorry, discussion, not debate.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
does this fix what Alderman Redpath brings up of the traffic division and not having enough help in traffic with this?
This is an annual grant that we get through Department of Transportation to.
But does it keep us at the same, just keep us like we are now with the one person or whatever?
Correct, and
we
essentially
said?
what this allows for is additional higher-back officers to come in and provide directed enforcement towards a specific intersection or whatever the case may be. So the grant's centered around speed, seatbelts, cell phone usage, DUIs, and intersections. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, so.
This
we
doesn't
still
add any
ain't-
bodies, this is just some money the state gives us to hire extra folks for
So
specific
to really
traffic
fix
events.
traffic would have to be at budget time, I guess?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Was
Nay.
that consent or debate?
Debate.
Consent.
No, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that was
consent.
discussion.
It was
No, it was-
consent.
it was
Okay, I was about to say, I
consent. It
made
was-
a
that
motion
was
for
discussion.
consent. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say everything debate right now.
Ayes have it, Frank.
2023-526, an ordinance authorizing purchase of 2023 Ford Patrol vehicles for Morrow Brothers Ford Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $1,053,400 for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
Alderman Hanauer?
Yeah, Chief, how are we doing on getting we've been trying to buy, I don't know how many vehicles now, and are they starting to come in more? And
Let me give you all great news. These vehicles are waiting for us on the lot, and then we will be caught up on all the vehicles that we're supposed to be.
awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, our Crown Vics, with the exception of one very special unit, have all been retired, so we're in good
Are
shape.
you going to put them on mount them in a museum, or?
I think we sold them for about $5, probably.
drive Crown Vics.
You got a good deal.
Thank
All
you.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2023-527, an ordinance authorizing acceptance and execution of the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Standards Board Recruitment and Retention Grant Number 20230916 in the amount of $1,390,000 for retention bonuses and sign-on bonuses, and authorizing a supplemental appropriation in said funds for the Springfield Police Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Ayes have it.
2023-528, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $2,365,000 from unappropriated fund balance for the Springfield Police
Move for
Department.
consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2023-529, an ordinance levying and assessing taxes to partially fund the statutory contribution of the police and fire pension funds.
Move for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
2023-530, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of new SBPA packs from Municipal Emergency Services in the amount not to exceed $368,176 for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
2023-531, an ordinance declaring various parcels of real property to be surplus property, directing the sale of said property, and authorizing the publication of notice of said sale and requests for proposals for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move for consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
I got just one question.
Alderman Gregory.
With the, I was just gonna ask, with the sale of these properties, do we have a dedicated fund, or do we have any plans that we're gonna do with the sale of these properties?
Not that I know. I think it goes back into the general fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. All right, thank you.
We'll just try to get as much as we can for them.
Okay.
I have something.
Okay. Alderman Notriano.
Thank you, Chair. So these are the Ward 6 Railroad properties, right?
Yeah, these are the properties that the south side of town, the construction on that side of town's done. So we're going to declare these surplus and put them up for sale.
Awesome.
As is.
As is, correct.
And could you give us a little bit of info, like if people are interested,
How to, well,
process, or?
yeah, my hope is we're going to list them, we're probably going to list them as an RFP. And I think I've been in touch with the city's chief engineer, Nate Bottom. We're probably going to put a sign in the yard.
Oh,
Very,
Selling out.
state of the art. Yeah, to say, for sale, something for sale by the city with a contact number, and then the ability to call the city and then and then to have a fairly simple RFP with the information for them to provide, price, and then what they plan to do with it, maybe how much they plan an estimate to invest in the property, and then I would think probably a closing date. Then we would open all the RFPs up and then do an evaluation. If we don't get something to our liking, we could keep everything open. And then perhaps I haven't talked to Corporation Counsel. We can also maybe work something in there where we'd offer, closing, or sales, realtor costs for closing sales, for a realtor to so if a realtor is involved, we would offer their closing
what is it? Closing costs. Their closing commission for, you know, if they were to get involved to offer, you know, to put in costs for, you know, for one of the properties to
Okay.
try and market it, so.
Okay.
Like that, so. Or this, something new I've never been part of, so I'm trying to think outside the box on it to, we think there's some value to these properties. It's not just vacant lots that we're trying to get rid of here, so.
Sure. And I've noticed, I don't know if this was like form, but in the ordinance, it was like you have to respond in 30 days. So that would be, you put out an RFP, and then 30 days from then, people have to bid.
Yeah, we would put out an RFP, and then we would have a set opening, or a set closing date that all proposals would be due by.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, yeah.
All
So
right.
we would have that, and nobody would know what the totals, or what the proposals were until that set date.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Alderman Redpath.
Corporation Council, these are the properties that the city bought under, when they were doing the construction of the railroad properties down there. So will there be a clause into these contracts that says these properties are sold as is, and trying to stop them for coming back later on and saying, you know what, I bought it, don't want it, and I'm under duress and I want to sell it again?
Absolutely. Our contracts will be clear that these are as is, and we're not warranting the habitability.
Perfect, thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes got it.
2023-532, an ordinance authorizing the extension of an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Sangamon County, Illinois Board of Health for Animal Control Services, and authorizing payment for FY 2024 in the amount of $284,031.28 for the Office of Budget Management.
For consent.
Second.
Move to debate.
Debate.
Okay, move the debate. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All-
You have to
We're gonna
say
invite Kristen
any
DeSenza into that
discussion.
one.
and then-
Discussion.
Yeah. This is one that I'm giving to citizens, if you can hear me, and others who constantly complain. You know, I don't know about the other aldermen, but in my ward and several people, they're not happy with animal control as is, where we're at right now. I don't know how this will work out pertaining to that we get ready to do the budget, and we may think about budgeting to do it a different way or not, but I definitely don't want to enter and renew something without being for sure and hearing from the citizens. So next week, if they don't show up and don't convince us, then I guess, you know, we'll renew. But this is a common complaint, that when our citizens in Springfield, Illinois call our Sangamon County Animal Control, by the time they come, the issue's over with. The dogs or the problem is, you know, kind of diminished, you know, went away, or they never respond. They never came out, and those kind of things. So this is something that I think we as aldermen really need to talk with our citizens over this next week and think about to see if we're getting the service and the bang for our buck. Thank you. That's my reasoning for wanting to give it another week and putting it on debate.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thanks, and I appreciate you putting it on debate. I know the citizens, we'll probably see Alderwoman DeCenso up here, and
Oh, God, I forgot.
that was one of
Yeah.
her deals, but
Yeah.
keep in mind, we don't have many, there's no alternatives. We've asked all the people that have come up and screamed about them, there's no alternatives. We have nothing, so we're kind of stuck. You know, we can't do it. Just to buy a building and get the facilities and the trucks and everything would cost us an astronomical amount of money. So I mean, so we don't pipe down. We don't really, you know, the truth of the matter is we don't have too many options available, at least unless we start one ourselves, and I don't think that's what we want to do.
Order over there.
Thank you.
Okay, motion for debate.
I'm back. You screen, yeah.
But you debated it.
I pressed the button again after him.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'm not buying that. I think people are listening, and I think we have to advertise and try to sell it. If we were to decide to try to do some other form. We would have to let people know this is what we're looking for and trying, and just, instead of just saying, oh, there's no other option. I want to see if there's another option, because we just can't keep sticking to citizens the way we're doing. Oh, this only thing that works. I mean, the jury's out on that. We'll see who responds if something happens. I just want to know if it's enough problem in you guys' ward like it is in mine, that we don't get good service from the current situation. So, like I said, next week, Ralph, if they don't show up, then, you have at it. But I do want to allow this time for people who maybe want to run one may show up and come in and say, hey, I will try.
They'll be here.
I mean, I don't know, but we need to do that. Thank you.
Be here.
Mr. Chair, if I could just make a point of clarification, and I know this is moving to debate, but I would like to clarify that this is retroactive. This is for the current fiscal year. So the contract that we're debating is from March of.
In use right now.
Yes,
Oh, we
that's
just
correct.
haven't paid.
But will it produce an ending if we decide to do something? When does it end currently?
So this would end February 29th of '24. So we need to have this discussion now, because we'll need,
Right,
there'll be
because
another
budget's
contract coming in.
and we will have to put something in its place if we decide to do it another way.
That's correct.
Thank you.
But this ordinance right now is paying for the, what's in, yes.
For this year.
Yes, so we'll have to put something moving forward.
That's right.
Okay. Motion for debate. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Aye, has it.
2023-533, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $1 million from unappropriated fund balance in corporate fund for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move to debate.
Second.
Discussion, Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Yeah, I just put this on debate. I'd just like a little more explanation about, exactly how we had unappropriated fund balances for items that we apparently allocated funds from last year that, if that was not reflected in last year's budget. Just be interested to get a little more information about how that happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Redpath.
So what I understand is that this $1 million is to pick up appropriations that were made for contracts for purchases of vehicles, but the money was never put in the budget. Is that correct?
I think that was the prior one.
We had the debt service budgeted for, but the transfer from corporate was not enough to cover the debt service payments. So the November 3rd debt service payment that was due, we had to borrow from the corporate fund. Fund 94 had to borrow from the corporate fund in order to pay the debt service. So this is increasing the transfer amount.
So we got into the agreement to make the purchases of these vehicles, is that right?
Correct.
That the money was supposed to be moved and it never was?
It was never budgeted to be moved.
Okay,
So there's
thank
no
you.
transfer.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. I should have just asked now. I'm sorry, I can't turn around. So we have the funds for these allocations, or for these payments? Nothing's gone up in the payments, like it's not a change, or?
No, there was no change. There's 2 JP Morgan loans and an INB loan in the capital equipment fund, and the debt service amounts were properly budgeted to the principal and interest lines, but the cash transfer from corporate fund was under. So there was not enough cash in the fund to pay the debt service. So we have paid it, but we did so by a short-term loan that this will pay back.
Okay, so just to be clear, our corporate fund balance looked like it had $1 million in it that it didn't actually have, because we should have appropriated it from the corporate to make these payments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I don't actually have any more questions. I know Alderwoman Notriano does, but I would be fine with putting this on consent unless anyone else has. My questions were answered. I was the one who said debate, so.
Alderwoman.
But please, I'll let you go first before we.
Sure. This is just a new person saying again, this is a lot of money, and if you look at the PDF that were presented, the description of what this money is doing, where it's going, what it's about, it says an appropriation that will cover unbudgeted expenses from various departments. I would just like to ask again that we get more information down here in these comment sections. If there's some backup you can include with things like this, especially, when it's $1 million. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so you
I would
motion
share
to
if-
get for consent?
I will change my motion to
Second.
consent unless anyone has an objection.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
2023-534, an ordinance authorizing additional payment of $25,000 for an amount not to exceed $55,000 to GovTemps USA LLC to retain Dallas Whitford to provide financial assistance services for the Office of Budget and Management and Planning and Economic Development through
consent.
February 29, 2024.
Move for consent. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
2023-535, an ordinance amending ordinance 335-07-23 to correct expenditure lines regarding grant number 923395 from the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, ICJIA, for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Move for consent.
Second.
Favor, say aye.
Aye.
2023-537, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $4,646,847 from unappropriated fund balance to pay eligible expenses for costs associated with Legacy Sports Park redevelopment agreement.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion for debate. And my only reason, I'm sorry.
Discussion?
Discussion?
We have a motion for debate, but you don't
Debate?
have a
You
second.
need a
A
second.
second.
Thank you.
Second. I'll second it. I just seconded.
So my question, previously for this Legacy Sports Complex, which I did vote for in an agreement, we had some discussion about some pieces that were supposed to come back to us. One of them was community engagement pieces and et cetera, before we expend any funds. And, from my recollection and my understanding, any of our funds is for infrastructure improvements and things. And, I think it's important that we have an update on what these funds are going to be used for and intended for.
Motion to amend.
Second.
Got an amendment.
All right, Corporation Counsel, Dallas.
Point of order.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. What's your amendment?
Amendment is, what's amendment
Was
one
handed
is
out.
what was handed to us today.
Okay.
Amendment
Changes
1
the
provides a technical line item correction for where this would be budgeted.
Do we vote on that before we move to this, or
And it doesn't matter.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Nay?
Now, Val, sorry.
That's okay. Corporation Counsel, Dallas Whitford, and I've been meeting with the developer, with the banks, moving this forward. One of the things, to your point, Alderman, is that I've been collecting all the information that's required of them in the redevelopment agreement. And so I have like an agreement with 186, utilizing this. We've got a PLA, we've got insurance. So there's a whole list that I have that's what I've slowly been doing. We do have an approval, but it's not signed yet. There's a group of 7 local banks that will be, have joined together to do the funding for the sports park. So we are waiting for a final signature on that line. This particular ordinance, it gives it just the spending authority for the money that's already here, has been being collected since '21, I believe. The 2% sales, or hotel motel tax and the sales tax. So this is what this particular ordinance pertains to. We have been, like I said, we've been meeting. I did ask the developer for a quick update. So if you'd like an update on what actually they're doing at the park, I'd like to read that right now. He just sent this to me. Said Salinger, Inc. began excavation shortly after the groundbreaking. They've completed the west detention pond and removed the top layer of organic for entire site south of the north tree line. They've placed compacted fill for dome site and parking area with 2 remaining lifts to occur in the spring. Salinger will begin spring with the excavation and construction of the north detention pond and the remaining placement of fill for the dome and parking area, followed by mass grading of the fields. Underground private utility sewer work will begin in the next 45 days and continue through the winter. The bid for public infrastructure package A will be let in the next 60 days. All financing packages look to be finalized by the end of the year. And with favorable weather, we still hope to have the dome fully operational in the fourth quarter of 2024 and the fields in the second quarter of 2025. One of the other reasons I forgot to mention on this particular ordinance is there is a piece of equipment that is needed for the dome that also needs to be ordered by Thanksgiving. So hopefully, as we can get this passed on the 21st, then we will be needing to wire money for that, and that's about, what was that amount? Do you remember? Was it like?
I think it was 2.1 million.
Yeah, 2.3 million of these funds, and we just wanted to make sure, and we are actually paying, we're not sending the money to the developer, we are actually paying the vendor for this.
Okay, I mean, that's a little different from my understanding of it. I thought our funds that came from the city were supposed to go for infrastructure only, and his bank situation would cover the sports facility itself and dome and all of those things. So, you know, if we could just gather the community engagement piece, I got a lot to think on, because I just feel like, you know, this is one of those situations where, you know, here we are, you know, we got $5 million that we want to give to him, but he hasn't really completed everything. I mean, he doesn't even have his financing together and signed to build
Well,
the
and the
thing.
financing, they have been told that until that financing agreement has come through and with the approval of Corporation Council, nothing's happening. They know that. Is there anything additional, Corporation Council?
We had a conference call this morning with the banks. This would allocate the funds, but it would not absolve them of any of the requirements on the second development agreement with regards to what we need to see before we pay it out. So this is, so the financing would need to be in place. We'd need to receive the appropriate invoices, which we don't have yet. And so if we don't have those, then they haven't met the requirements of the agreement, so we wouldn't make the payment.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Chair. So this 4.6 million, we are paying for work completed. That's what the revised ordinance says. Okay. So again, for this amount of money, to have 2 pages describing to me and having no idea that it's about equipment as well. I just would like to see a little more information come across so I feel comfortable making decisions about $4.6 million.
Understood.
Thank you.
Alderman Redpath.
I think she answered my question. I wanted to get to the point that this appropriation is money that's been being collected from the tax increments, and that it can only be distributed, and you're only paying it to the vendors anyway, correct? Okay, thank you. That's all.
Alderman Williams.
So you're saying the banks haven't signed off yet?
Right.
So is there a timeline on when the banks are going to sign off? We
were told by the end of this week.
Because last time we talked, the banks hadn't signed off, but they had promised. And I'm a little concerned about this equipment piece. So how much was the equipment again? 2.3
or 2.2, something, yeah.
So we're going to be wiring 2.3 whatever to the corporation or whoever's making the
Vendor,
equipment, the vendor,
yes,
okay.
yes.
And we're doing this because they can't, the developer can't? Or doesn't have the money, or
Well, they have already contributed with, purchase of land and things like that, and,
this.
we went through, a whole, it took us a lot of time digging through, let's say, the development agreement to understand this. And so, yes, they were just, I don't know how else to describe it.
So they've made contributions and they're asking for a draw based on the money that we've collected over the last 2.5 years. How this will typically work moving forward is it'll be on a monthly basis where the tax money will come in, we'll get the tax revenue, they'll draw down on that, and they'll draw down on their bonds as they're completing the work. The issue that came up here is we've had 2.5 years of accruing this pot from tax funds, and now since it hasn't been on a monthly basis, now there's this large drawdown that they're asking for, a large spending authority. They're not going to use all of this, but this is what we have, so we're going to allocate.
Work completed.
So Alderman, right where I'm at. I mean, I had
It's
the
a
floor.
spending authority
Don't
for the
respond to me.
Are we
So-
talking about the same?
Hold on. Alderman Williams
Right,
has
so
the floor.
so the ordinance authorizes for work completed, but we're not going to pay $4.6 million out as soon as this is approved because we haven't received receipts, invoices, work for that work completed. So the development agreement requires work to be completed before we pay. And this is authorizing that, but we're not going to wire $4.6 million. That's why we're talking about the 2.3. So this is authority for everything that's been collected in tax up to this point, but we haven't received requests or drawdown amounts for the full 4.6.
So the reason I don't know what this is for is because we don't know what this is for. We've received no receipts for any of the work.
Well, we know the scope of work that it will be used for because it's within the second development agreement. But you won't know the serial numbers or, if there's additional equipment ordered or, timber, whatever it's used for. That's correct.
Okay, Alderman Williams.
Yeah, so I guess my confusion is with work completed versus a piece of equipment that we're ordering for them. I mean, so that all can be mashed together like that as work completed.
I'm happy to break it out and use the terms of the contract. Our contract allows, reimbursement or payments for equipment ordered or project costs. Project costs incurred is the term used in the second development agreement, and so these would be project costs incurred.
This just has been one of the strangest, lousiest agreement I've ever heard of. But such as it is, I guess we just have to deal with it. I just think we could have did better. Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. Director Yeazel, I think with these numbers being so large and the project being so far out, could we try to get maybe, I don't want to ask you for a monthly update, but maybe a quarterly update, and I think that'll help us out too up there.
Sure. No, and it may be a monthly out because there's a lot that's going to come quickly.
Yes, so if you could
No,
help.
I would have no problem
Okay.
with the monthly.
Okay, that'll
Yeah.
be really good. I think that'll help us understand the steps that they're doing and what's going on, especially from the questions tonight. And I thought that would be helpful to everybody.
Sure.
Thank you.
Alderman Hanauer.
Thank you. Just for people that are new to this, we will be paying half of their expenses is basically their project cost. That's what we all agreed on. And so we're going to be getting these as they come up. And I mean, I would hope that Val and her staff will go over things with fine-tooth comb and report back to us. And we have to trust that she does that. my understanding is this piece is a part of the heating for the dome that they have to order in advance. And if they don't order, so I would assume it's probably $4 million, or they're saying we've already paid this much money. So you guys, if you guys could put this towards this, it's all going to end up where they pay 50%, we pay 50%. So,
Ralph, and just to follow up, that's why I'm asking Director Yezel to
Right.
just break it down and send it to us so we know, because that kind of answers your question that Ralph just said is for the heating of the dome too.
And so basically, we're going to be seeing a lot of these, and, we just have to trust staff that they will make sure that, things are done correctly and that. So, thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing up the 50%, because that is a big piece of it.
Right.
Is watching that we never contribute more through the process more than the 50%.
Right.
Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Chair. So I will say, I'm not disputing this expense at all, or saying anything negative or calling into question the project. That is not what I'm trying to do. We spoke at length at the beginning of this meeting about $600,000, okay? So I think we can talk about 4.6. Thanks.
Alderman Gregory.
My last and final comment is Corporation Counsel, if you could get us information, because as I said, my understanding, and I think it needs to just be clear, our city money that we pay is supposed to go to cover infrastructure funds and nothing to do with the sports complex. Am I correct in that? Am I off in that? Can you show me that in our development agreement?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk with you about that, because I think that the initial development agreement and the second development agreement define project costs as a little broader than just infrastructure.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's fair, thank you.
Any more discussion? So we need a motion as amended for this?
So move.
Second.
Are you going consent or debate?
Consent.
Stay on debate, stay on debate, stay on debate.
Debate?
Debate it is.
Okay, we have
All
Alderman
in
Williams
favor?
for a motion, and who's the second for debate?
Sean is the motion.
He's motion, he's second. Williams is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any unfinished business? New business?
Yes.
Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. As we discussed briefly earlier, in the month of December, on the 26th, we have a scheduled committee meeting. The city is closed. I'd like to propose that we move that committee meeting to the following day, which would be the 27th. Everybody's okay with that?
Somebody going to tell Santa Claus?
I guess.
Santa's not working on Boxing
Larry's
Day.
dressing up as Santa Claus.
We need a
It's enough,
motion for
Alderman.
that?
Yes. Yes, you do.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
I'll tell Santa Claus he lives in my ward.
Unfinished business, Alderwoman Conley,
Oh, sorry, are we on unfinished or new business?
new business.
Okay, good. I am on new business. Yes, I would like Chief Caney to come up. We had kind of an exciting first in Springfield today. And Chief, I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'd like you to go ahead and explain. Oh, you sent me, oh, very cool. Thank you.
So, at least in recent history, and as far as I can remember, and as far as all of our staff can remember, we had a historic event today. The first time in Springfield Fire Department history, we had an all-female crew on a fire engine today. So so Captain Julie Plunk, who many of you know from
I love her.
Facebook and stuff, she was the captain today with Amanda Lager and Rachel Weisner. So again, just exciting news. So thank you for.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for the picture. Very exciting to see this. Looking forward to more.
Alderman Williams. Oh,
Director Yezel, if you can come up, maybe you can. So I have the new hotel that's been erected at Capitol Shopping Center next to AMC, nearing completion. It got robbed. You know, there was a big theft of some wiring. And I'm asking you and maybe some of these elderly, in age as far as being on the council. I'm trying to find a way to help the developer. You know, he took a big loss. We want to complete the project on time. I spoke briefly with the mayor. She was aware of it, you know, and also since he kind of was behind the Powerball as far as not getting the enterprise zone. We know there was a failure there on our part, you know, the city side. So I really want to try to put our heads together and see if there's anything that can assist him and help him.
Well, I talk to him fairly regularly.
Okay.
We have discussions, I mean, quite a bit, and I've been out there to see what's going on. We have looked at that.
At some things, okay.
At some things, but to make up what his loss is, I have no idea.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you as the director.
No, because I dealt with him when I was here before.
Sure.
And so then we reconnected.
Yeah, they
and
stole
so-
all his wiring. You know, they laid it out on each floor and all that. Now, since there's a fence around it, and by the way, Chief, if you would put the little camera thing, you know, close by, and maybe we can do it to Terrence that way, just to get through the end of this project. I think I just feel like I owe him any kind of assistance the city can do.
Right.
You know,
I agree 100%.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Rob.
Citizens request to address the council?
Yes, James Meister.
My name is James Meister. Right now, I'm staying at 1139 North Franklin with my stepmother while I wait for the deed to show up to my new place in Macoupin County. I've lived and been around Springfield area for the better part of 15 years now. I have been dealing with Evans Recycling for leaves and tree branches this whole time. I'm handicapped, but I'm capable. So I try to help as many handicapped or elderly as I can. Years past, Evans has never been an issue. Evans has never been a problem. City of Springfield, when it comes to cleaning up yards and helping people cut down trees and stuff, has never been a problem. Approximately 4 or 5 years ago, the girl that ran the office down there that took the names and everything moved on, and they brought in another woman. This woman has been rude to our citizens, I believe has charged citizens inappropriately when it comes to leaving yard waste or tree branches and stuff at their place. Just this week, I went in with the leaves from my mom's place where I'm staying right now. Well, my driver's license doesn't represent that address. My mom's 80 years old, gets out when there's a doctor's appointment. I have to push her around in a wheelchair. Tried to explain to the lady that. She didn't care. She's going to charge me. So I get a hold of the city deals with it and takes care of it. They tell me to go back out there without a problem. So I go back out there. I sign the paperwork. As I'm walking back to my truck, this woman sticks her head out the window and starts screaming at me that if I want my job, I can have it, that this is, and started speaking excrements. My research since then, since I've signed up to talk to you guys, I found out that over these past few years, I'm not the only one that's complained to the city. Apparently, this woman has had multiple complaints every year. I'm asking the city to address this by appointing a committee to look into and to audit to see if Evans is not charging our citizens of Springfield for things that the city of Springfield is paying for on our 30-day pickup twice a year. I'm not asking for much, just a minimum of 3 years. I'm also asking that the next time you put together this contract, that you put in this contract a clause that says that if we get over so many complaints or get certain complaints, that if Evans isn't willing to address their staff, that funding from City of Springfield can be held until these issues are addressed. I've only had problems with one woman. From my investigation, it seems as if this is the only complaint that comes from Evans is this one woman. And she's out there charging people that live and help people in Springfield. While Springfield is footing the bill, she's still charging them anyway. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Hanau.
Hi, James, I was out there today, as a matter of fact, and yeah, that lady doesn't play around. She's pretty serious. She, in her defense, she has to put up with a lot of BS from people. And I parked wrong last week. I went out there and parked wrong, and she let me have it. And I deserved it, I admit it. But, you went out there, you didn't have a city driver's license, and I'm sure she gets people from all over that's trying to get free, dumping. And, she's got to kind of hold the line. I get where she's coming from. And, yeah, she can be a little brash, but, I don't think until you've sat in that office, you know what kind of garbage she's had to put up with. So, I've got along with her. You kind of just go along to get along and get in and get out and don't cause problems. But I think if you get your driver's license changed, you wouldn't have a problem, because the only problem I had was parking wrong.
But it's not from my lease. It's from my 80-year-old mother.
I understand that, but how does she know that you're not? I guarantee you might be truthful, but there might be 50 people that aren't.
Well, then
and they've got a business to run.
The city needs to come up with a way so that we can help people without being charged or anything else like this. 1 year, I was able to bring in a utility bill for that address, and they had no problem with it. I asked her that this time. She said, "No, I want your mother here." I said, "She's in a wheelchair. She only goes out for doctor's appointments." She didn't care. I don't care. She can get out first. We need to fix this problem. And I see there'll be another thing. We'll just sit it out on the street. Imagine if 1,000 people in 117,000 people in Springfield take their own stuff out there, or you take your mothers out there and you take your fathers out there, instead of having the city pick them up and the fuel charges. If we give people a way to help other people during this, we can still save money with what the city is doing here. Because then the city won't have to transport it out there. It'll be less fuel, less man hours on the city. We need to fix this. But somebody that's that brash, we also need to address that as well.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Time's up. Thanks.
Alderwoman Conley.
Nope. Okay, Alderman, I'm sorry.
Alice Ramey.
She's already been talking.
Well, you know the dog problem.
Start the clock.
That
Clock
dog don't
started.
bark.
38, 39.
I want to thank whoever brought that dog thing up for people to come up here and talk about it. But it needs to be settled. But that's not why I want to be up here. I wasn't going to come up, but I don't usually open my mouth when you talk up here, you know.
Really?
No, I don't. I don't usually. You know that too. I want to apologize for interrupting you with that, and that's the reason why I came up here, okay?
Thank you, Alice. Apology accepted.
Thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Alice. You're a square deal.
Joe McMiniman.
Alderman Rockford, nice job.
Thanks.
Only had 40 ordinances tonight. A lot to get through. We've been at 2 hours already. So I have just slashed my comments in half. But you got the clock running, Mr. Clerk. So Joe McMiniman, 1300 Pine Valley Court, Springfield, Illinois. Very proud resident of Springfield. I thought I retired, but this residency issue has just excited a lot of folks. And I'm getting a lot of phone calls, and a grassroots effort has just kind of been thrown to the side. So one of the comments I hear the most often is, if this is all about expanding the hiring pool, we want more applicants, we want to have more eligibles be there for these jobs that really should go to Springfield. Why then did we open the barn door so wide so existing city employees that live within our city limits can leave the city? I haven't heard anybody explain that. Let's see, we got 3 sponsors, right? The mayor, W10, W1, and W10. The citizens want to hear an answer to that, because what they're thinking is this is kind of a deceptive practice. It's kind of a pretext to achieve something else. Now, along the same lines, the citizens of Springfield want accountability on this. Now, one of the ways to get accountability is to look at the city reports that are supposed to be issued. And Ward Notariano, you're doing a good job saying, I want more information. We're not getting reports. So up until I left, we were getting a monthly report from HR. You're new on the job, I understand. But that HR report gave a monthly number for every head count of every department. We haven't had that in 6 months. So the citizens want that. Another example of missing reports would be every quarter, the prior administration gave a persons hired and persons promoted report. You can find it if you go to the city website and you go down your government, open government, and you tab down open government, you'll see reports. Who was hired and who was promoted. We want to see those reports again. And we're going to ask Ward 7 Alderman Brad Carlson, you're going to volunteer for this, we hope. Why? Because last week you had an amendment that says we want to get a bunch of information by which to judge this new ordinance regarding residency. So what we would like to see in order to get the information is whenever there's a new hire, we want to know whether it's an R or a non-R, a resident or a non-resident. We want very accurate records. And we'd like to see that on both those reports I just referred to. The new hires report that's under open governments, but we haven't seen it in some time. And lastly, the head count report. So we want to know head count, agency by agency, what percentage hired, what percentage not hired. Now in closing, I'm going to close early. That police collective bargaining agreement tonight, I was astounded that no one asked for a fiscal analysis report. That's part of our rules. A lot of folks here say, let's follow the rules, let's follow the rules. There was no fiscal analysis that I saw available to the public that's supposed to be there when you come to the committee of the whole for either the white shirt 5% raises across the board or the 4-year collective bargaining agreement. We need to see those fiscal analysis reports. It's part of our rules of practice, Corporation Counsel. And actually, you shouldn't be signing off on those ordinances unless you see a fiscal analysis. That's my opinion. We always nailed your predecessor on that, if we could. So in closing, we want accountability and more information by which to judge what I think was a very dangerous policy initiated a week ago. That is to open the barn door way far wider than it needed to be opened. And we know who was on the amendment too. an amendment to grandfather not just those that are hired from outside, but grandfather those that move out of our city this year, next year, and we'll see how long this moratorium goes on for. So thank you for this opportunity. I may have to come back more often than 3 meetings in a row. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
hang in there and do a great job for the city of Springfield. We really need it.
Your phone.
Outstanding. Thank you. It's great to have help in the world.
Anybody else? All right.
Not that's signed up. You can ask in the...
Anybody else like to speak? Not signed up? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.